It's-a me, Gus Zagorilla of the Dire Gentleman channel, and as you can probably tell from the title, this is going to be an atypical Two Professional Writers video. Full disclosure, my co-host Henry Galley and I cracked open a few beers while we were looking at an article from the So You Want To index of TV tropes. We wanted to release it on the same day as our Trope or Fails video to kind of coincide with the beginning of that new series. But the thing is, the article didn't really keep our attention for very long, and the beers got the better of us, and we just kind of ended up ranting off topic for a while. So rather than releasing hours of audio of us just reading through an article and responding to it point by point, we decided we'd save the best of our off-topic discussions and put them into this video so that you can hear the madness and mayhem of our drunken debauchery for yourself. With that being said, I hope you enjoy this informal addition to the Two Professional Writers playlist, and we promise you that we'll get you something a little bit more substantive next time. Enjoy!
Alright, are you ready for flaws, traits, and bonding? Three bizarre things to, lump into one category.
I mean, flaws, traits, and bonding is just how I spend my Wednesday nights, but whew, let's get into it.
Yeah. Alright, most personalities involve traits. That's quite a funny sentence to begin with. So yeah, I would say all personalities involve traits. I know this is just being a nitpicky douchebag, but hey, you come here at least partially for comedy, I'm sure.
Douchey McNitpick.
Quote unquote comedy. Yeah. These are the jokes, no refunds.
Ha.
You can leave a bad comment, but you can never get your time back. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Anyway, most personalities involve traits. Sloppy versus neat. Shy versus outgoing. Even-keeled versus easy to upset. Open-minded versus traditionalist, the Spock versus the McCoy, etc. I personally wish they'd put a few more dichotomies in there.
Yeah, we need
Some
more
of these traits
dichotomies.
Some of these traits are typically described as virtues, parenthesis, heroism, selflessness, morality, loyalty, while others are described as flaws, selfishness, cowardice, lack of success with girls, insecurities. That's really funny.
Oh my god. It's not even like lack of relationship success. It's specifically with girls.
Selfishness, cowardice, being a fucking verge.
Being a fucking big verge. Oh my god. I think escapism as a goal for a consumer is a rather unfortunate tendency.
It's back in Bezos territory.
Yeah, it leads to oh, well, this exists for me to mindlessly consume so that I can be distracted from my real problems.
So I can be distracted from what people like Jeff Bezos are doing to me in my world.
Exactly. I think Michael Moorcock said it best when he said that, the people who really prize escapism are jailers.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, people who don't want you addressing real-life issues are the people causing them.
Exactly.
And that's why the big companies that are, fucking everybody over are the first ones to say, shut up and eat your slop.
Every so often, we get down into these, professional writer videos, and some of these people come here, and they're like, I just want writing advice. And then we prevent them from experiencing escapism because we remind them that late-stage capitalism is killing all of us and slowly constricting the very creative outlets that we ourselves prize so much and work in. And I'm just saying, sometimes you gotta be wired into that shit so you know what to avoid. It's better to know the obstacles that are coming than pretending they're not there by just, disappearing into your own little action figure fantasy land.
Yeah, that's the thing, because fundamentally, you're either against the problem or a part of it.
Hell the fuck yeah.
That's where the virtues come in. However, a character that is all virtues is also inaccessible because while he's admirable, the reader does not and furthermore cannot empathize with him. He is like the moon. Awesome, but irrelevant to the reader's life. A fascinatingly bizarre metaphor.
He's like the moon. No, you can't come.
You can't come. This is unrelated, but I just thought of the worst idea. Timmy, Mr. Turner from Fairly Odd Parents, orgasm denial.
No, you can't
come.
No,
I mean, we're on the moon. No, you can't come.
No, you can't come. Never has that reference to that specific Fairly Odd Parents quote been so relevant and then so immediately irrelevant.
Are you ready to get controversial?
I am always ready to get controversial. That's what the dislike button's for.
Hell yeah. Representation.
Maybe, can I rephrase what I said? Okay, like...
It is you in that moment with that fucking GTA clip. Well, you know the GTA 5 clip where like he bumps into someone and like someone walks up and he's like, "Hey, you motherfucker," and then pulls out the gun and immediately because they're coding, the other guy just goes, "I want to apologize."
I want to apologize? Yeah. That
was you in that moment.
That was me just now. I want to apologize?
Well, I always think it's one of those things where a movie with an all-white cast is just a movie. A movie with an all-black cast is a black movie.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't sum up, like, why representation is needed in the status quo, like, white people can have narratives to a much greater degree that aren't simply centered on their, like, whiteness. Whereas because a lot of mainstream media comes through, you know, like, basically, like, white gatekeepers in, like, the studio system, a lot of the stuff that gets greenlit are, like, for, like, you know, minority groups that, like, heavily feature people in, like, certain minorities more than white people. They basically have to sell it as, like, this is a movie about, like, the struggle. Or, like, some detail inherent, like... Well, like, we've yet to see, like, a movie about a, you know, like a dumb, fun action popcorn movie with a trans main character, you know? Because the gatekeepers don't let it happen.
Exactly. It's just kind of like people need to take into account that there are barriers that are preventing this representation from happening. So any stride in that direction is going to feel like it's a big event. But movies like Fast and the Furious franchise are changing that because those movies are just diverse, but they're not even about everyone's different ethnicity. They're about fast cars doing crazy things, and they sell really well. So eventually, like, hot take here, and like I don't have this problem, but anyone out there who feels like, man, I feel like there's too much diversity happening all at once now. Like they gotta like slowly, incrementally do it. It's just weird, you know, to see it all at once. Listen, it's doing it all at once now to make up for lost time. In the future, it's not going to matter because it's just going to feel natural to have women, women and people of color and people of different, like, you know, gay people, trans people, all different people in these movies. It's just going to feel natural. And if you feel uncomfortable with that eventually being the status quo, sorry, you need to go to a doctor because you're racist.
Yeah, it's like
the doctor's gonna tell you like, hey, turn your head and cough, and then punch you in the face and just be like, yeah, you're racist. Sorry, that's the problem here.
You need to go to a doctor, specifically Dr. Kevorkian.
Yeah, that doctor.
And
like,
and the other thing I was gonna say was.
This is when half of my, because I'm very white, I'm half Irish. This is how half of my people starved, because those were some small potatoes that you're complaining about.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and I just want to say, too, is it seems like a lot of people, because the real world does have this complex intersection of, like, various different identities, people from all different backgrounds, the world is a little bit more, there's more global mobility happening. I feel like it is an instinct, and I've seen this a lot in YouTube comments and even some YouTube creators, is that there's this idea that, like, medieval fiction should never have minorities in it. And here's the thing. Not only were the Middle Ages a little bit more diverse than, like, you know, just all white, there were people of all different skin tones back then in a different way. But more importantly, you have to ask yourself, are these people defending and purely consuming medieval fiction? Are there no minorities because it's, like, true to the time period? Or do these people have this fandom towards it because they believe that there's no way for the minorities to get in or for the women to have agency? And I think that's worth thinking about.
They love the idea of this, like, halcyon ethno-state.
Oh, yeah. No, they're in love with this concept. Like, that is why, to an extent, I feel like whatever the intentions of the guy who wrote The Witcher, the fandom around it and the things they'll post online are just, like, so, like, it's so stupid because they'll try to, like, project this fantasy world's rules, which are ultimately up to the author. They'll try to project these fantasy world's rules onto real world history and make wild gesticulations about the role of, like, women and minorities. And it just comes across as so hollow. And the fact that this isn't belying any kind of bias on their part is stupid. And I feel like that is the element of this that we as white people can comment on, because it's just us, our fellow people, not letting people into the room in the places where they should be most able to be let into the room. Like, it's dumb. You set the rules. If you decide to all but say no non-whites allowed, then yeah, that's the rule you've decided. But fucking own it so we can call you a racist, and don't hide behind a million stupid Thermian arguments like some kind of cowardly, spineless bitch. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fuck them. And yeah, I think it's something that we need to qualify a lot, just because, like, guys, when it comes to this shit, it's so fucking important you, like, actually listen to minority creators and thinkers and academics on this shit. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great if like, we're, I don't know, your, like, gateway into that, but, like, your journey of exploring this shit should never stop at us, because anything we're saying would only be parroting back with less, like, real authority to back it up things we've heard from actual minorities sharing their thoughts and their experiences. Like, you really got to go out there and, like, actually, like, educate yourself with this shit. Like, don't just stop at us, because in the grand scheme of things, we genuinely don't know jack shit. All we know is that we know nothing.
Exactly. Check our links. Go look at other content creators who are, like, minorities, or have had different experiences that give them a better authority on this. And
the thing is, you might be thinking, oh, I just come in for writing. Bitch, that is writing. Being a writer is understanding people, understanding the broad spectrum of society and of human experience, to then faithfully recreate the truth of that in your work. And if you're the kind of person who hears this kind of thing and is like, I just don't want to know, I'm sorry, but, like, you're not a fucking writer. And if you're offended by that, show me your published works. And that's not something I normally pull out. But the fact is, if you're not fundamentally curious about the human experience, you're never going to be a good writer.
Exactly.
It's just not going to fucking happen.
At the very best, you end up being some, like, 2-bit contributor in something Jeff Bezos would approve, some cog in the capitalist machine, whatever is, like, accessible. But even then, if your discomfort comes from, like, just the complexity of the world, you'll never get that far. You need to learn how to be a human being and how other human beings live. Otherwise, you're not going to do anything worthwhile, let alone write.
Exactly. Anyway,
I just want to say one last thing. I hope that for the 100th time we've lost the right wing, because they seem oddly resilient, like cockroaches. Like, they will just latch on to anything.
I think they were just here for the monster girls, because they're all pedos.
Hey, listen, man. You can't say that all Republicans are pedophiles. That's too real. That's too true. Like,
I mean, to be fair, a fair few of the upper echelons of the Democrats are too. But that's fundamentally because they're all getting paid by the same group of right-wing mega donors.
Yeah, exactly. You can't say that all the Republicans are pedophiles when some of the Democrats are also pedophiles.
It's true. It's
like,
true.
listen,
like,
it's like around
again,
around 20 to 30% of the Democrats and 100% of the Republicans. You got to be correct about the ratios when you're going.
yeah, no, you're right. It's like it's on the fucking it's like Anthony Weiner and like Bill Clinton and like a bunch of others, and on the Republicans it's like the rest of
Yeah,
them.
exactly. You know, you're the child pageant party. The like fucking like
Mitt Romney might be the only like non-nonce left.
he's the only
party.
nonce, as we call them.
It's true,
Yeah.
and that's I was gonna say because he doesn't need it. Dude's got 3 wives. He doesn't. That's untrue. I'm sorry, Mormons.
This is the part of the video that I'm just hoping like makes like even like at this point we've said enough insightful shit that we can just get unnecessarily mean to this group of people who are never in good faith to begin with. Like it's just one of those things where like
I'm sorry, but the facts don't care about their feelings.
No, and all they have is feelings. Like they deny science. They're never on the side of facts. Oh.
Like if your feelings are hurt by this, go watch a video that's like angry at the Owl House or something, and grab your fucking security blanket. You pathetic, spineless lump of overgrown semen.
Fucking buy like a $300 She-Ra figurine and melt it in your garage, you pathetic fucking wannabe pedophile bullshit.
Somehow transform yourself into a 10-year-old, and then maybe someone you respect will want to fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, let's get back in.
Hell yeah.
Dodge Gentleman Channel, the most profane channel on YouTube.
Yeah, no,
Anyway.
exactly.
Well, that's the thing. It's so funny that they say like, offensive comedy, and then like the liberal snowflakes like, yeah, fucking listen to this. You find any right wing who is saying like edgier shit than you're saying right now.
Hey, listen, if you're a right winger, if you made it this far into the video, suck my actual dick.
Can I get sloppy seconds?
Yeah, post a comment of how you'd suck our dicks. I'll approve it.
Jesus fucking Christ. Love it. I've got to admit, I kind of want to just jump to the next section, because I think everything here would just have the same things that we had before.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, this is already, like, don't get me wrong, for people who are, like I said, at the start of that journey, this is a valuable way to start them seeing minorities as people. But
exactly. But for those of us who have lived lives and understand and empathize with other people, this much is, we've already covered this ground, and we've covered it in our commentary too. We can go ahead to the next and final section of this.
For those of us who don't entirely watch YouTubers with, like, rant sonas that express how very perturbed they are by everything.
Exactly. Holy shit.
Whether they're like some fucking like little dweeby anime version of themselves, or like a fucking 10-foot cocked bison in plate mail, or whatever.
The real nutcases are the people who bought costumes that make them look like urinals when they rant about these childhood cartoons.
You know, some dude that looks like he would be, like, killed by fucking Flash Gordon as he's running to fight Emperor Ming in, like, the throne room.
Some guy who goes down in a single phaser blast and makes the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, some fucking Zardoz-looking bitch.
Oh, fuck. How did we come out of this not making fun of TV tropes nearly as much as people who actually deserve it?
Because these fucking clowns are the actual problem. A lot of the things we make fun of on TV tropes is shit written years ago by people who have grown up or moved on, which is the point of trope of fails. These people are cunts now.
Exactly. This is like trying to, like, you know, like, this is like trying to make, like, a nice meal and instruct people how to, like, cook food in a kitchen overrun by, you know what? No. I've seen Ratatouille. It would be offensive to rats to compare these people to rats.
That's the thing. These are the people trying to, like, make the food. The other people are like, sorry guys, I can't come to the cookout. I'm too busy fucking kids at my place. Anyway.
We don't talk about Uncle Jack.
Yeah. Jesus. I think a lot of people are a little bit confused as to what we mean when we say professional writers. Like, they'll look at something like Less is Morgue, and they'll be like, you've just made that? Like, you're not professional writers. No, the fact is, Gus and I, like, our day jobs, for the most part, are just writing. We get paid to write other things, whether it's, like, ghostwriting or writing for other people's creative projects, things like that. That's how we make our money. The things that we will talk about more often, though, are our independent creative projects. And how we tend to do our independent creative projects is do it as cheaply as possible and just put lots of effort in, so that way, if it doesn't turn out like you hoped, you at least haven't bankrupted yourself. And a lot of the prior things, like, I'll put it this way, a lot of the things that I've worked on have been things that, like, didn't necessarily be a huge success, like Conjuria, which we make jokes about sometimes, which was a podcast we made with AMC and Shudder a few years ago. Only got one season. Ditto for other things that we've done, like Gus and I both worked with the Hidden Frequencies podcast, which was a like Twilight Zone style show that brought in voice actors from like video games, anime dubs, cartoons, etc. to come and voice scripts that like Gus and I were involved in like creating and advertising. The Heads of Sierra Blanca, infamously, like all of the No Sleep podcast, all of these different things that we've worked on, like across mediums with different people, like ultimately at the end of the day, you cannot put all of your eggs in one basket. Everything you do, you've got to be prepared to fail, and then when you fail, you've got to be prepared to go, okay, sucked that didn't go how I wanted it to, but I was smart, I didn't bet everything on it, I'm here to write another day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think so many people from the outside don't really understand that, like, as long as the writer themselves is there, they have the means and medium to keep producing work, they're gonna get another shot. Like, you might get a little scatological and think, like, this writer just shit on my rug, and conceptualize them making this thing that wasn't satisfying to you like that. But at the end of the day, you know, the person who strained and consumed to create that shit may create more in the future. And because creative process is not a strictly waste removal service, you might get a gold mixed in with those huge turds. But
I mean,
what I'm trying to say with this extended bizarre metaphor is that the writer and the end product are fundamentally different things. And that if you think you can trace back a writer's entire psyche and mentality through like a single work of theirs, then you're mistaken. The only writers we can completely analyze through their work are people with vast bodies of work, or work itself that became so prolific with so many like clarifying notes from the author that it becomes incredibly obvious.
Yeah, and the fact is, regardless of like what particular creative vocation you take, whether it's writing, art, acting, directing, animating, whatever, like the fact is, in the end, people only remember the hits. And it only takes one good thing to turn yourself around after a string of failures. A great example being one of the internet's golden boys, Keanu Reeves. The first Matrix movie, like late 90s, monster hit, made him a superstar. But if we're honest with ourselves, he then basically starred in shit films for like a decade and a half after that. Like people wrote him off as like a wooden actor, someone who was just like, oh god, it's a fucking Keanu Reeves film. But all it took was one John Wick, and suddenly he's back on top again. But if he'd have listened to all of the people telling him, you know, oh, you just shit, Keanu, you should just give up, he never would have stuck around enough to make John Wick and rock it right back up to the top again.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the act of creation, in any way that you're participating in it, it could produce gold. And the more experience you have at it, the more likely that is to be. And sure, there's going to be people who don't get it, but at the end of the day, you're not beholden to the people who refuse to get it. You're not beholden to the amateurs. You're beholden to the people who are experienced creators, well-trained, like, media-literate audiences, and to the professional critics who have earned their accommodations and their accreditations. And the rest, that's the hoi polloi. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, don't try to please everybody. Like, it's funny.
Everybody contains a bunch of fools.
Yeah, Gus and I will often put things out on this channel specifically to scare some people off.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, we know that, like, an odd direwolf video is going to bring so much joy to the people who it's for, and fulfill the same purpose of, like, making people recognize that not all things are for them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. I think I've fully galaxy brained. I may need to go see a doctor about this galaxy brain. It's
Dr.
malignant.
Kevorkian again. It's funny because he's been dead for years. But yeah, this has been great. Thank you to everyone who's made it all the way through. You're a real G. Comment something about Dr. Kevorkian to prove you've made it to the end.
Exactly.
That's how we know you're the real G.
Yeah, you're the real G's out there. All my real G's, give a like to this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, which I've been told is the actual second real subscribe button. Don't know why they don't tell you that going in. And check out our many other playlists, including the rest of the Two Professional Writers videos.
Hell yeah. See you later, Tropers.
We'll see you in the near future.